So you've already spotted I'm in a very special and very secretive location coming from you live today. And the reason it's so secretive is because it is actually the home of our Audi UK heritage fleet. We've got all our lovely Quattros up there. Thought we'd position them nicely in the shop because it is the 40 years of the original Quattro this year, which is great. And there'll hopefully be some more on that to come, but that's still a little while away because obviously lockdown did push things back a bit. But anyway, this behind me here, you will have spotted as well, is our very latest acquisition. And as you can see, it's a Mark 1 S3. And we actually purchased this back in February this year. And the reason we purchased it is because we knew another certain performance model would be coming on at some point. So keep your eyes peeled for that. We've always wanted a Mark 1 S3 on the fleet. Spotted this one, and it's got a really special history, and we had to have it basically. And as you can see coming around the front of it, in particular on the number plate actually reads S3 MTM. Now there's a good reason for that, in that this car was the original demonstrator car for MTM, which is a really well-respected tuning company, and MTM stands for Motoren Technik Meyer. Now, it was originally set up by Roland Meyer, and he was a former development engineer for Audi Sport in the rallying era of the 1980s. Now, this car left the factory with 210 PS, but it does actually have a stage 1 remap on it. And as you can see, that's handily pointed out by the MTM badge on the boot too. Now, generally, we wouldn't add a modified example to the heritage fleet, but we love the backstory of this car. So it's only actually got one previous owner from new before us. And also I personally loved the Goodwood green color. And I also really loved the cream leather interior. So moving on to a bit of a history of the A3 in general then. So the 3-door A3 was introduced in the UK in 1996. The 5-door version joined in 1999. Now, interestingly, the Sportback moniker didn't actually appear until the 2nd generation, which arrived here in 2003. And that 2nd generation was actually the first Audi to use the Sportback name. So there's, as you know, there's a number of Audi models that use Sportback now. It's become a bit of a household name, but the A3 was the very first to use it. Now, the 1st generation model was a really big deal for us because it actually really originated the premium compact segment. And it did this with some innovations and a quality of fit and finish that hadn't really been seen before. And it was, all these bits and pieces in here were kind of reserved in the past for the higher model classes. But the A3 kind of really made Vorsprung-Technik more accessible than it ever had been. So we owe quite a lot to this car and this generation of car. Now, the A3 has been a resounding sales success worldwide. So in its time from launch, it has actually sold 5 million units globally. And in the UK, it's always been a serious sales success as well. And you can always tell the success of any car based on its life cycles. Now, the Audi A3 has enjoyed some of the longest life cycles of any Audi model, actually, and they typically have ranged from between 7 to 9 years between each generation. Now, in the UK, the 1st generation enjoyed around 70,000 units were sold. In the 2nd generation, this rocketed to around 270,000 units. And then for the 3rd generation, that outgoing model was around 260,000 units. And of course, Sportback has become more popular and more popular as the years go on. So in terms of model mixes, in the 1st generation, Sportback, or 5-door I should say, accounted for about 10% of the mix. In the 2nd generation, it accounted for 60% of the mix, so it really rocketed. And then 3rd generation, again, the outgoing model, 70% of the mix. And worldwide, actually, most recently, every 9 out of 10 Audi A3s sold was a Sportback. So that's a bit of a brief overview on the A3 and its history. And what I'm going to do now is hand over to Natalie, who is going to tell you much more about the brand new car, everything that's changed, all the innovations on that car as well, and give you a detailed overview. So Natalie, over to you.
Hi Alex, thanks everyone. So here we are, the fourth generation of this pioneering model. The A3 Sportback has returned with significant changes. So let's see what's new today. Firstly, it's a real wraparound cabin experience for the driver, fully immersive and premium. Starting with the seats. These are the new sports seats for the S-Line. They now have integrated headrests, really strong side bolsters, some contrast stitching, S-embossing and twin leather as standard. Immediately here you see the newly placed air vents, again completely immersive for the driver, but they then carry on through the detailing in the inlays for the customers and for their passengers. Now you might not be able to tell in the light here, but we now have the optional ambient lighting pack on A3, and this creates a really lovely cabin experience. There's up to 30 colours to choose from, and it provides lighting all the way through the inlays and around the cabin, and in the really useful places like the cubby holes and the footwells. So next, the most significant change for the A3 is the tech. I mean, look at these screens. As standard, the new A3 has the virtual cockpit 10.25 inch and the multimedia interface 10.1 inch and navigation, all standard. And this MMI screen is really intuitive. We've got language detection, natural handwriting detection, and the power of this is all thanks to the new MIB3 platform. That's essentially Audi's operating system, and it's 10 times more powerful than the outgoing model. It can now store settings for up to 6 users. It will store their navigation routes, their seating positions, their air conditioning. It's really a fantastic piece of kit. And within this MMI system, you can link to Audi Connect. Audi Connect for 3 years is also now standard on the A3. And these are the online services. They will provide you with live weather forecasts, live traffic updates. It will help you find a restaurant, or it will help you find an empty parking space round the corner. It's amazing technology, all now standard on the A3. In this cubby hole here, if the customer was to opt for the Audi phone box, this would be replaced with the wireless charging pad. But even without that option, the A3 now comes as standard with the smartphone interface. That essentially links your phone to the car. And with the use of things like Apple CarPlay, you can now link your phone to the multimedia interface, so you never need to touch your phone. It allows you to use your Google Maps, listen to your music playlists. It will even read out your WhatsApps for you. It's really cool tech. Other things that are going to be coming in the future when we talk about cool technology is something called Car2X. Now it's slowly being rolled out across the globe, but essentially it's going to allow Audis to talk to each other. And most importantly, it's going to start letting Audis talk to our traffic infrastructure, our road infrastructure, such as traffic lights. It's now going to allow us to understand when traffic lights are about to change colour so that we can monitor our speeds. Other things to call out on the interior of the new A3 are things like the dual zone climate control, which is standard from S-Line upwards. It's got a beautiful, sleek digital design, but we still have these toggles as well. And other things to mention, flat bottom steering wheel. Now this is an option on the A3, but an interesting point to note, and we're going to talk about it a bit later, the driver assistance package will force you to have a round steering wheel. And that's because it's all going to be built in with hands-on technology. So whilst we're on the topic of safety, let's get out the car and talk about that in more detail. So here it is, the new A3 from the exterior. The new A3 is the safest yet. Its standard features include Audi Pre-Sense front. Now this is a technology that will essentially use the radars built into the new front grille, and it will consistently scan the area in front for the driver. If it notices a hazard, it will warn the driver, and if they're not able to react quickly enough, then it will provide warnings and will apply the brakes if it needs to. Other new items of technology standard include the pedestrian and cyclist detection. Now this essentially does the same thing as Pre-Sense front, but it will be scanning the road in front of you for those pedestrians and cyclists in the road or about to join the road. So again, all these items of spec are now standard on the A3. Another safety feature now standard is the lane departure warning, and that will essentially support the driver in staying in between the lines. If it notices the driver unintentionally swerving towards or over a line, it will vibrate the steering wheel and even add corrective moves to keep them in line. Again, all safety features now standard on the A3. And for the ultimate in driver assistance, we have a new driver assistance package available as an option. This will include items like adaptive cruise control. It will include driver parking systems and also camera-based traffic sign recognition. So that will be for the ultimate driver comfort. And talking about comfort, we also have an optional pack called the Comfort and Sound. Now, the Comfort and Sound package bundles together what we believe are some of the most popular items for our customers. That will include heated front seats, Bang & Olufsen sound system, parking system plus, and the reversing camera. And the really important piece to note about this option is whilst it's £1,200, this optional package is a residual value enhancing. Now, what that means is, on average, a car with that package will have a residual value about £450 more. So that offsets the price near enough in terms of value. £15 a month a customer could get the Comfort and Sound package for. A really cool item of kit. So let's talk about engines. So we're not all live with all the engines yet, but currently we've got the 30 TFSI, the 30 TDI, the 35 TFSI and the 35 TDI. And they're currently available in guises of manual and S-tronic. And a point to note on the 35 TFSI S-tronic is this is a mild hybrid. Now, it's not the same as a plug-in hybrid because we're saving that for a little bit later, but the mild hybrid contains an electric motor that supports efficiency. So let's move on to some dimension changes for the car. So it's now lower. It's 3 centimetres longer and just short of 2 centimetres wider. Now, the wheelbase remains unchanged, but that additional length is predominantly in the front, and that's to house all those driver safety features that we've just talked about. It might not seem like big changes, but I think you'd all agree the new A3 Sportback is much more sporty, sleek, and true to what a true Sportback should look like. Now, you're probably thinking, all these items of equipment that are now standard must mean a huge price increase. It doesn't. The new A3 Sportback starts at £23,300 on the road. And on average, the price is increased by just 2%. And what we're really proud of is that our residual values have grown by up to 20%. So the new A3 Sportback is now more affordable than you might think.
I work with the commercial team on a daily basis, and we work really closely, particularly when we're launching cars.
Yeah.
And I know that these cars are like your babies, aren't they? You know,
Absolutely.
it really is a cradle to grave process. And so really, what has been your proudest moment with the car? Because you've been there from the very beginning.
Yeah, absolutely right. I have worked on this car for 2.5 years. I saw it in clay, 2.5, 3 years ago. I'd say my proudest moments now, I mean, first of all, it looks stunning. This is the S-line, which we do the majority of our mixing in the UK. I'm really proud of the high level of tech that we have as standard. It's not the same throughout the globe. So for the UK, it's a real achievement to have navigation, virtual cockpit, smartphone interface, Audi Connect, all of those things now standard. And the safety features as well. I mean, it's loaded with safety kit now. So yeah, really grateful for having the chance to work on such an important model in the UK, full of tech, full of safety equipment, and for a really affordable price now. So yeah, really excited to see what you guys make of it.